Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Very excited to be here and share some. We're gonna share a lot of information in a short amount of time, and there's a lot of great information we're going to share in regards to best practices and roadmaps and scripts. And we want you to ask questions. We want you to comment on it. The topic we're going to talk about today is getting all of your systems to grow. All systems grow. We're going to leverage our dialer with virtual professionals and give you some expedited growth scenarios and practices for next year. We do want you to contribute. We want you to be excited. We want to hear what you have to say. And there's essentially three things you're going to get out of this today. Here's what you can expect. We're going to show you how to automate your path on a six-figure roadmap for next year, for 2018. We got to get started now. It's right around the corner. We're going to show you how virtual professionals can accelerate that path for you so you can focus on what you like to do, those dollar-based activities, the stuff that really excites you. And we're going to talk to you about the synergy between sales dialers and prospecting with virtual professionals. But let me bring in Daniel Ramsey real quick to do a quick intro because I'm going to share with him a statistic. I'm going to turn the floor over to Daniel real quick.
Hey, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. This webinar is actually a culmination of 13 years of not only being a real estate broker myself, but also running a virtual professional company. MyOutDesk, we've helped over 4,000 folks grow their business, and what we're going to share today, and I'm really excited about it because it's like my life's work, is how to create a seven-figure agent map and leveraging like sales dialer and a virtual professional to really drive and grow revenue. The name of the call today is called All Systems Grow. So we're going to bring a lot of value because, I mean, literally, I'm going through all the sheets that I have right here, and it's kind of insane the amount of value we're going to bring in this really, less than an hour conversation. So I'm excited about that. But Corey and I were talking about like why this topic is so important, and there's this stat. So Corey, what's the stat? Tell us why somebody needs to be paying attention, and then we can still see your screen, so you can kill that if you want.
Oh yeah, I was actually just trying to figure that out. Clearly, you can see that I am technically challenged in many ways. I'm trying to get them to see your gorgeous face so they can feed off your energy because it's better looking than mine. So we're going ahead. I'm going to share this stat while we try to figure out how to share your screen. Okay?
Yeah, no worries. What is the stat?
Okay. And I read this. Some of this I don't understand, but I like to ask questions, so I'm going to share with you something interesting that I said. It's or interesting that I read that we all know is true. 70% of buyers were happy with their real estate agent services. This is a good thing. Okay? 74% said that they would buy from you. Again, 3 out of 4 clients would do this. But only 10% can actually remember your name after 3 years. And I'm terrible with names. And I think this is really important. It's all referrals, or a lot of it's referral-based business. But only 9% actually bought from you a second time. So you can see that number going down further and further. And that, to me, I think there's a big gap there that can be filled, Daniel. Can you fill in that gap of how people can increase those numbers?
Well, I learned this mistake myself, and this is what happened. I sold a house to a couple, and it was a job transfer, and I sold a house to a couple, and then he got another job transfer literally 2 years later, and they didn't call me because they thought, well, Daniel, you don't specialize in this area. We found a specialist, and as you know, in real estate, like real estate is real estate, neighborhoods are neighborhoods, like it's not a challenge, right? And after they called me because they needed a referral on construction guy because they had some repairs, and I'm like, guys, what happened? Why didn't you call me? I mean, were you unsatisfied with the level of work that I did, or did I not do a good job? And they're like, Daniel, we just didn't, honestly, we just didn't think of you. And so that stat that we just read from NAR actually has happened to me, and I'm guessing it's probably happened to you. And so today on this call, we're going to go through some processes that you can put in place so that not only do your clients remember you, but they also give you business and they refer you business, and you're top of mind with everybody who's in your sphere and everybody who's just everybody who knows and does business with you. So I learned this the hard way. That particular transaction was like $14,000 in commission. So I learned my lesson, and today we're going to go over some processes around how to not have that happen for you. And more importantly, and this is why we're doing this call together, is, you may not want to call, all 2,000 people in your CRM. You may not want to prospect all the FSBOs and expired. You may not want to, pound the phones with all the people that came to your open house. And so we're going to go through how to create some leverage using a virtual professional and what that roadmap looks like, and also how to do all that today. So there's going to be a lot of good content. I'm going to give the best of what we've learned over the last 13 years. And one opportunity too is, I get to see into the top 10 teams across the country because they're our clients. So our people are doing this. I'm learning from our people, and then I'm sharing it with you guys today. So I'm stoked about it. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, listen, while you were talking that, of course, I was taking notes and getting amped up here. But if you want to share your screen, you can do that. I changed presenters so you can
awesome.
So you can show your screen. Now, let me ask you this, because I appreciate explaining why we're here, but I don't mind asking questions. You need to explain to me what leverage inventory is. Because
yeah.
I'm getting excited. Help me out.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so everybody, one of our big challenges is our clients come to us and say things like, okay, what exactly can a virtual assistant do? And so we walk through a process where we do something called a leverage inventory. So that's where you separate what your dollar productive activities are versus your non-dollar productive activities. Okay, and that's an important differentiator for real estate people, because I've actually broken the dollar productive activities into what we call the MyOutDesk 4 Ps, and we're going to go over that in a second. But what's really important here is that dollar productive activities, it's our lifeblood. And in real estate, especially, or in insurance, or in investment advisors, what's really important is, as a leader, is you're focusing on networking events, doing sales presentations, negotiating with clients, prospecting for new clients, and getting a referral network and a vendor network kind of built and created so that it constantly feeds you business. These are the highest and dollar productive activities. And then all the other stuff, like building out a CRM, building out a referral program, building your CRM, using a system like Sales Dial to plug into your CRM, those are important things, but they're not dollar productive until you actually jump on the phone and start making calls. So the very first thing to do is a leverage inventory. And that's, literally draw on a piece of paper and just track through your day what is dollar productive that you do and how much time you spend on it. And then on the right hand, say what is non-dollar productive. And I can tell you, right now, I have an entire team of one of the biggest brokers in the country doing this. And here's what happened. He came to me and said, Daniel, we have some virtual assistants. We're looking for creating our strategic plan for next year, and we're looking for ways of adding value to our team. So I started saying, okay, well, what is your job, as the owner of the company, and what is your operations manager's job? And we started doing a leverage inventory, like literally just doing this one task, and an aha, a light bulb went off with this guy, and he realized that he has his number one person at his company doing non-dollar productive activities. Like the highest paid guy is doing non-dollar productive activities. What are you going to say on that?
A waste of time and energy. Put them where they're going to do the most good for you, right?
Well, exactly it. And this is what happened. Many of you guys know we have a chief operating officer. His name's Jeff McCaffrey. He said, look, you can always save money, you can always cut costs, but the most important thing for the leaders to focus on is value creation. And so that's what this call is discovering what value every single person on your team can provide in terms of, generating revenue. And generating revenue is the number one thing you can do. So what I had this team do is literally what we call a leverage inventory and then a sticky challenge. And the sticky challenge is just this. You ask everybody within your team to write on stickies every time they're doing another task, right? And those stickies, you just say, is it dollar productive or non-dollar productive? And then you put how much time you spend on it. And your entire company creates this wall. And then you start organizing tasks around, well, am I building systems? Am I building process? Or am I dollar productive, right? And the sticky challenge is an amazing aha. And again, we got this from one of the top ranked real estate, gal, Lisa Archer, one of our clients, one of my favorite people in the world. She told me about this. So all of these concepts and ideas are not rocket science. It's just we've pulled them from these other, real estate folks in the world. Now, Corey, and you'll laugh at this, but there are people, we had 150 people register and on this thing, and the reality is I bet you nobody's going to do this. Like maybe 10 people do it out of this call, but it is the one thing that if you just simply do a leverage inventory, just go through what is dollar productive versus non-dollar productive, and if you just go through that exercise using stickies and this leverage inventory, it will transform, especially if you're running teams, it will transform everything that you do within your business moving for 2018. So that's the important thing of it.
I think that some people, let me tell you what, I keep 3M in business because I love Post-it notes, but I think some people might be a little hesitant to actually see what is non-dollar productive. That may be the reason why they don't want to do it, but it certainly would be a wake-up call. I'm going to do it. So
yeah, what I'd also challenge you guys to, if you're on this call and as we go through it, I enjoy questions, I enjoy kind of interaction and engagement, and so as we go through, because we're going to cover a lot of topics that are brand new. I'm pretty certain that nobody's on this call has ever heard of a leverage inventory. It's something that we created. It's something internal to us. And the reality is, if you have questions or you have a thought or you want to ask, why should I do this or what about this or, please post them. We like to interact and it's really fun. The next question is why are you doing a leverage inventory? What's the why behind it? And the why is because dollar productive activities for a real estate person. If you're running a team, if you focus on listings, and if you're selling between 30 and 50 transactions a year, that's our minimum clients. We like folks that are really driving revenue by getting a lot of listings, right? If you're doing that, I can guarantee you your team is not fully focused on referral business, isn't fully focused on prospecting, isn't fully focused on asking their existing database for more referrals. And I think that's just such a powerful thing. And so as you're doing the sticky challenge, what you're going to do is you're going to step back and say, oh my gosh, only 5% of my day is prospecting, or only 10% of my day is prospecting. And so this will allow you to reorganize priorities and also reorganize your team's priorities so that you're focused on the one thing that drives revenue, which is listings, listings, listings. So, big topic today. I love this conversation.
Well, how do we go from that to delegation? Because I think a lot of people have a hard time with that. They're going to get bombarded with this list of things, and they're just going to stare at it like a deer in headlights.
Well, exactly. So the point of doing this isn't just to figure out what you do, but is to figure out how much of your time is spent on non-revenue productive activities. And so when you find out that ratio, the next question is what do I need to give up so that at least 70 or 80% of my day is focused on client interaction and driving revenue. Now, most people don't know what they can delegate, or they fall into that leadership, trap where nobody can do it as good as I can, and these are my clients, so I want them to have a great experience, and that is all fine. But in the world of developing like a scalable business, a business worth owning, a life worth living, having some vacation time, you know, maybe going on a trip without answering your cell phone every, you know, 30 minutes, like all of those things are what we want to help you develop. It's this concept of time freedom where you can take a vacation, you can go see your mom who's in the hospital. I mean, like all of those things that you really wish, maybe go to the gym, right? Like that's another thing. Like when's the last time you got to go to the gym and not answer a call? So the point is, once you've discovered what your team is actually doing and yourself, and you're going through the leverage inventory, the next step is categorizing those things into different categories. And here's my favorite way to categorize. And it's basically, you know, what am I really good at and I love? This is great and good. So we've got these two categories. What do I love doing and I'm really good at or I'm great at? That hopefully is the dollar productive activities, right? I'm great with people. I'm great at grading referrals. I like to connect. I'm a relationship person. And so hopefully you're good at those things, right? And so you list you take all your stickies and you line them up, non-dollar, dollar productive, and then what do you enjoy? What are you great at? What do I love? What am I good at? And then everything below, meaning I'm good at it, but I don't like it, or I'm not so good at it and I hate it. Like all of this stuff below is what you delegate, right? And that's a very easy, straightforward way to create a job description for leverage, a virtual assistant that a virtual assistant could handle or help with.
It's a lot to take in. If you're like a high school student, you're trying to take notes. You only try to pull the juicy stuff out, but this is all nice meaty stuff. I'm having a hard time just digesting it all. It's frankly very exciting. So let me ask you this. So we're talking about delegating it.
Yep.
By the way, thanks for explaining the sticky challenge because I didn't know what that was. I was a little worried. You have to explain to me the LP Mama scripting. I don't know if now is the right time where you want to do that. I honestly thought that was a dance club, so I'm a little confused.
Okay, so one of the questions are like, okay, Daniel, I figured out what I love doing and what I'm great at, and it's in-person, face-to-face stuff, but I don't like all the prospecting. I don't like to call a bunch of people after an open house and ask them how it went. I don't like to prospect for FSBOs, and a lot of people on this call probably, quite frankly, aren't prospecting for FSBOs or aren't calling expired listings, which I think is a huge mistake. And you're not doing open houses, which I think is another huge mistake. And Sales Dialer, they have all the data, so you can actually pull, neighborhood data and dial around and invite people to your open house and then call all the people who came to the house. So I believe, being on the phone is one of the most positive things you can do as a real estate person. And so, but that being said, some people just don't want to. And so one of the common questions is that what can a virtual assistant do in the phone call, and what scripts would I use, and how does it work? And so Corcoran Coaching and Consulting came up with this maybe 5-10 years ago. And the acronym is LP Mama, and it stands, and this is how we train our virtual assistants to use Sales Dialers and to make an impact for our clients. It's an easy acronym. So if you want to, it's a free download. We have a free download for everybody at the end of the call. We'll talk about. But LP Mama is just simply location. So knowing the area that the person wants to sell or buy in, price, like why is it that you want, in that price, like, is there a reason? Have you already been approved for that loan, right? And then motivation, why do they want to go? So the next question is like, I'd like to sell my house, and you ask, well, why? And they say, well, I don't know, I just kind of want to. That's not a high level of motivation, right? Versus the guy who's like, I have a job transfer and I'm leaving in 30 days. I need to sell my house because I got to go buy a new one in Dallas, right? So that is a high level of motivation versus a low level of motivation. And then the next is A, which is agent. So are you currently working with somebody? We train our people to ask the real question, which is, are you currently working with an agent? And they'll say, yeah, I'm working with somebody. And the next line of questioning there is like, are you in contract with that agent? Like, are you currently in contract to list your home with that agent, or are you in a buyer-broker agreement? And so you want to kind of dig there because that's important. And the next one is a mortgage. Like, have you been approved for the mortgage? Do you currently have a mortgage? Where you're at, because that a lot of times will determine price and the area that somebody can buy in. And it's also important to know, as the agent, I don't want to talk to somebody who's not already pre-approved, because that is another level of motivation. So mortgage, and then the last is the appointment. So I'll go back through all those. It's location, and this is how a virtual assistant hands off to a licensed real estate broker, somebody who's ready to move forward and take action, right? So it's location, price, motivation. Are you working with an agent? Do you have a mortgage? And appointment. So that is the entire script for getting a virtual assistant to actually, provide value. And the reality is, like, you load them up with 10,000 calls, they're probably going to have 500-600 conversations. And if in every conversation they go through this process, it's not going to sound like a salesy call, right? So that's really, really super important.
That was one question I wanted to ask you, because I have a sales background myself. A lot of times there's reluctance to reach out to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, because you don't want to come off as that salesperson. What kind of things, you have any suggestions or tips for re-engaging after that amount of time of no contact?
Yeah, so that's good. That's another issue that we have. We'll have a client come in. And say, look, I've got 10,000 people in my database, but I've never called them, or they call me, but I know there's value and gold inside my database. So how do I re-engage them? How do I get them back in contact? How do I hire somebody? This is the other thing, is how do I hire somebody to do it for me? Like, that's a huge thing. These are my clients. Are they really going to want to hear from some virtual professional in the Philippines? I mean, that's a conversation like, I don't know, Daniel. So we've answered that by, here are some. I've got some questions here. I'm going to share them right now, and it's based on Michael Mayer's book, Seven Levels of Communication. He's a real estate coach in the industry, and again, we pull this from our clients, right? But you can re-engage your database using a virtual professional and sales dialer by simply asking questions like, do you have any big goals for the year? Daniel asked me to give you a call and kind of reconnect with you. He feels bad that, it's been a couple years since you guys have had contact, so he just asked me to reach out. Any big goals that you've got for 2018? Tell me one that you're most excited about. Any big trips or vacations planned for the year? Hey, when we sold you the home, you had a wife and a couple kids. How are they? You got any big challenges right now with your family or anything going on? Is there any projects that you're excited about in 2018? Are you looking, for the rest of the year, is there anybody in particular that you'd like to get introduced to, like anybody who you want to meet in 2018? And the intention here is to collect all of that data and put it inside your CRM, and then systematically provide value to these people so that they stay top of mind, so that you stay top of mind for them in their day-to-day activities. A great example is we use, we have a friend who has helped us with some staffing needs locally here in the U.S., and she'll send me an article once in a while based on this exact conversation, and it's so powerful. And some of our virtual assistants have reported that they will get referrals by asking, hey, do you have any goals for 2018 that, maybe we can help you with? And it's like, this person's like, wait, what? My real estate broker wants to be involved with helping me reach my goals for the year? Like that, it's transformational when it comes. And this is all stuff that a virtual assistant can do to re-engage your database and be like, yeah, it's been a long time. We just want to kind of touch base with you and add some value in your life.
That's good stuff. A lot of this kind of gets away from you if you're an agent and you forget how to do these basic things that you pointed out that, frankly, I think are basics. I'm a big fan of acronyms, and it helps me remember things. Like, for example, I'm not going to forget the LP Mama, but you have to tell me about the 4 Ps, okay? Because these are things that help me that I need to learn more about, and I wonder if you could share that with everybody. That'd be great.
Yeah. So I love the 4 Ps, and here's why. We've utilized this exact process inside of our business. It's called the 4 Ps of MyOutDesk to really help hone who our best opportunities are in the world. And this is an example of, like, when you hire somebody new, you don't want to give them the highest level of lead category, meaning if you paid $300 for a lead and it's a listing lead, you don't want to give that to the brand new listing agent on your team who has never sold a house before. That's like throwing $300 away. What you do is you start that lead at the lowest quality lead. Maybe they do circle dialing in a neighborhood, right? And invite people to the open house. And you get them practicing on Sales Dialer by just drawing that circle in the neighborhood and then pounding the phones and inviting people to an open house. That's the lowest quality lead that you can have, because you didn't pay for it other than the system, Sales Dialer, to generate that lead, right? So what the 4 Ps, like the whole point is to take the dollar productive activities inside your real estate firm and really kind of force rank them as the highest things that you can do. So the very first thing is prospecting. And let me help rank prospecting, right? So your existing client base, like, this is the gold inside your business, right? If they've done business with you, if they know you, and if they like you, these are the highest quality leads you have. So if somebody raises your hand based on an email or something that you sent out to them and says, hey, I need to sell my house, well, that's hands down the highest quality lead, versus the one that we talked about where it's circle dialing for an open house, right? That's the lowest quality lead. That's a very easy, top quality, bottom quality. But the reality is, you've got referrals, you've got new high probability clients. New high probability, those are like the open houses. That's like the expireds and FSBOs. And we've talked about that before, Gary. We had a great, I think we had a great call with Sales Dialer and Land Voice around prospecting for FSBOs and expireds. Because expireds are the people who are raising their hands and just saying, hey, I want to sell, but I was unsuccessful with the last guy. I need a new guy because the last guy didn't get my house sold. Another really great source for high probable clients, divorce attorneys, probate. You can buy lists from people of homes that are going through a divorce. You can buy lists from service providers of people who have passed away and their house is entering probate. So these are high probability potential clients, and your job as the owner of the business is to focus on prospecting and the highest quality probable clients, sphere, referrals from your sphere, and then these expireds and FSBOs and open houses and probate and divorce leads. Those are like the goal. And so what real estate folks forget is that all leads aren't created equal. Like, stop buying leads from Zillow. By the way, Zillow probably one day will put us out of business. I mean, probably. Open Door, like Realtor.com. I mean, the reality is they're taking our listings, they're marketing it on their websites, and then they're charging us for our listings. It's ridiculous. And we keep following into that trap because it's hard to do what I'm talking about, which is just setting up a systematic approach to handling your leads. So that is what we're talking about, and this is real. Most people that are listening, like I said, we have 150 folks or so. Most of the people who are listening here will not do the sticky challenge, will not do the leverage inventory. They will not revamp their lead or their scripts with LP Mama. They will not do Michael Mayer's. They won't buy Michael Mayer's book, which I think you ought to. and focus on relationship and focus on referral. And they're not going to go through and categorize their activities using the 4P. And that's okay. You don't have to. The really successful people will. And so if you're listening, after prospecting and sorting people out by the highest probability to the lowest probability, the next thing is presenting. So presenting, I mean, basically it's your listing presentation, right? I mean, that has got to be tight. You've got to create a great elevator pitch, and I'm gonna tell you why. One of my good friends, Ben Kinney, he owns a lot of real estate brokerages up in the north west of the U.S. And when I first met him, he had this line. When people asked him what he did, he goes, "I help make millionaires using real estate." And people would be like, "Wait, what? You do what?" "Yeah, my job is to make millionaires using real estate as the vehicle. And that's what I do." And so, or you can introduce yourself as like, "Hi, Daniel, I'm a real estate agent." Well, guess how many of those there are? 1.6 million of them, right? You know, versus I make millionaires with real estate as the vehicle. So your presentation, your elevator pitch, you know how you convey the value that you bring is the next place to focus on. Once you have people from the prospecting, the next place is, focusing on that big win inside your message. Now, the potential referral, 70%. Now, I want to just, the next P is potential referral, okay? And I want to. This is really important because, like Ben, when he said, "Look, I help make millionaires out of real estate agents," this 1P is the differential between building an asset that you can actually sell, okay? Everybody knows RealTrends. There's a particular guy, all he does is values real estate companies. Like, he's built his entire practice around valuing real estate brokerages and teams and transactions. So if any transaction happens inside the real estate space, this guy is the guy that they hire to value it. And hands down, it's always 3 times your net. So if you're netting $1 million, you're going to get 3 times it. But there's a caveat, and this P is the caveat. You need to have 50% or more of your business coming from referral. So potential referrals is the game changer around valuing your real estate practice. So if you think about it like this, if you're an agent and you die tomorrow, does your husband or wife have something worth selling? And the truth is, probably not. 99.9% of us have built businesses that are unsellable because it all focuses around me, the broker, or me, the agent, right? And so potential referrals is an area that is a dollar productive activity for you to focus on, because if half your business comes from your sphere of influence and referrals from your vendor network and referrals from past clients and referrals, and you've got this machine going of a referral machine, then your business upon your death or retirement, that's the other piece, retirement. Like, you might want to retire one day, right? That one piece, if you have 50% of your business coming from referral and repeat clients and in your existing database, then you have an asset worth selling. And so that's why I know it needs to be there. And then here's the other place, like potential follow-up, or persistent follow-up, actually. I can't tell you how important this is. We did this thing with Zillow where we got a bunch of their data, and we're kind of working through helping them build out a call center that they actually built. And so we got this huge data trove from them as we're helping build them out. And what's crazy about it is only 3% tried to follow up more than 2 times or something like that. So all of the people, wait, here it is, and I'm wrong, it's not 3. Only 10% of Zillow's agents make more than 3 attempts to contact their leads. Okay, so it's 10%. I'm the sales guy. I got to make sure I got my numbers right, and I'm reading it now. But So only 10% of us in this industry actually actually made more than 3 attempts. And that's why I left persistent follow-up as the last P, because that's just an area that as an industry we could get better at. And so this is the 4 Ps. I mean, Corey has never heard this before. We didn't talk about this. What are your thoughts, man?
I just got goosebumps, honestly. I see opportunity for everybody else that's not following up. I just want to reach out there and snatch it up. And I'm excited. So I think everybody else should be too. Now, listen, you've mentioned this a couple times, and I want to touch on this real quick, and then I want to come back to you because you made me think of something here as far as persistent follow-up. We have we may not be able to cut to her, but I've spent some time talking to her. Her name's Arne Dodd. She's a realtor, and she's out in Vegas. She's using, I don't want to say this is a selfless plug, because candidly speaking, I just love her excitement. She is using our software. She's doing persistent follow-up, and she's setting 3 times as many appointments. And what we're talking about doing here, what you're sharing, is creating a repeatable, duplicatable system for follow-up and building relationships that will self-perpetuate itself, and you just can sit there and wait for the phone to ring all day long. Arne is, we talk about quite a few things, but her story is actually quite amazing, because you know what? She's just willing to go out there and work it and do it in her energy, and she's not afraid to get her hands dirty, and she's doing some pretty cool stuff out there in Vegas. So,
and she's on this call. One of the things that I liked about your guys' conversation was that she primarily uses Sales Dialer to automate and speed up. And so this is a big part of why we're in a conversation. And Tristan Ahumada, who started Lab Coat Agents, is really the person responsible for Corey and I getting together and doing a bunch of these webinars. One of the things that he said to me was when he hires a virtual assistant, he doesn't have to worry about the follow-up. He doesn't have to worry about them getting a call. His job is just to focus on driving more listing leads to his business and hiring more agents. And so I think Arne is building to that point, but what they both have in common is they're using a system, Sales Dialer, to really hammer the calls and hammer the leads. And I think it's just silly for us as an industry not to be on a dialer. Most people are on like a single line dialer, maybe. And what Sales Dialer does, and we had another webinar about this, is you can dial 4 lines at one time, and each of those lines are dialing, and when somebody picks up, it puts the other 3 on pause. And we've seen our virtual assistants like quadruple or triple the amount of calls they're able to have, which in turn doubles or triples the amount of conversations. And so real estate, the 4 Ps, LP Mama, these questions from Michael Mayer, all of these things are a belly-to-belly sport, right? We're in a sport that requires conversation. And that is why I believe in Sales Dialer paired with a virtual assistant to make more calls, have more conversations, and just simply get you in more opportunity as you look at 2018. And that's why we say all systems grow, because, we help our clients every day double their, the point is you should be able to double your business. So if you did 50 deals last year, you should go to 100. And that is a reasonable goal as an agent or a broker or running a team. And so our job is to support you in that.
I want to ask you something a little bit more detailed about what you do, but I'm going to share one thing. Arne doesn't know this. I asked her this when we were talking, and I asked. I didn't want to be presumptuous. I said, "Hey, how often are you actually using the dialer?" I was just hoping that maybe she'd say, "Oh, I'm using it, every week." She told me every day. So what she's doing is she's showing that persistent follow-up She knows what she's good at. We know we're good at sales dialers, and Daniel knows what they're good at and what they do here. So you're essentially, it's basics. You're surrounding yourself with successful people that know their part, so you can do what you want to do. So I want to ask Daniel, what specifically can a VA do to provide value to a client?
Right, and we're getting there now. What's really important, if you're sitting back and you're thinking about, okay, what am I going to have them do? You really, again, the leverage inventory is your first step. Then sort it by dollar productive or non-dollar productive. Then sort it by whether you like it or love it, hate it, or you don't like it, and what you're good at and what you're great at and what you're really not good at. And once you get to that point, then you look at things like, what are some of my challenges moving forward? For most folks, the biggest hump to get over is generating more listing leads, right? And that's the thing that we want to empower you to do using our virtual assistants. Our people cannot go knock on doors for you. They cannot do an open house. That's your job. But they can call every single house in the entire neighborhood and say, hey, would you like to come see your neighbor's house? It's going on the market next week. They can make that call. They can call an expired listing and say, hey, would it make sense for us to meet for 5 or 10 minutes? You need to know Daniel. He's a great agent broker. He specializes in this area. And, if it makes sense for you in 5 or 10 minutes, we can talk to you about why your home didn't sell. And only if you got the right price today for your home, where would you go? And you start going through that LP Mama. Why did you want to? What was your motivation to sell? Where would you move to? What kind of a house would you need to, they go through that LP Mama stuff, and all of a sudden, you as the real estate broker or agent is calling a listing lead, and you've got all the information. You know everything about that lead, and you're ready to just go set the appointment or confirm the appointment and show up and do your presentation. So what we do is we will accelerate your revenue by focusing on the 4 Ps, by helping you become dollar productive. Again, my guy says it's high impact, low effort. That's what you guys need to focus on as real estate professional. High impact stuff is getting more listings. Low effort is doing a presentation that hands down, is selling a home in a neighborhood that you specialize in. And so that's low effort, high impact stuff because it drives revenue. And that's what we would help you with. When you do that leverage inventory, this is kind of like our basic step to what we call, and Corey likes the name, it's our 7-figure agent map. And what we do for everybody that we help, and if you're listening to this and you want our expired, here's what we're going to give you. We're giving away our expired script, our for sale by owner script. We're giving away conversational selling. This is a thing that we use internally with Land Voice when you're doing FSBOs and expireds. And then we're going to give you the LP Mama stuff. And not only are we going to give you all those scripts specifically for virtual assistants and real estate agents wanting to drive more revenue in 18, but we're going to give you a strategy call with it. And that's the important. Information without execution is worthless. And I want to tell you, having a strategy call and getting a little bit of coaching and talking through and helping you understand, we've got some insane processes and systems that we can share with you to help really, all systems grow for 18, And that strategy call is one of our kind of value propositions out to the market, because what we want to do is we want to help you, take you from where you are today and get you to a point where you're netting $1 million, which is the 7-figure agent map, the roadmap that we work on. And we'll go through, what your challenges are. We'll talk about who's on your team now. We'll talk about the systems that you're using. If you're not using Sales Dialer, we're going to make sure you get a free trial with them. Try it out. Get used to the system. Corey's helped. In fact, I sent Corey a couple clients last night. The reality is, not only do we believe in it, we recommend this to every single one of our clients because it makes our virtual assistants more effective, and that's what you're paying for. And so,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. What's up?
I was going to say, you and I chatted before the webinar, and I've got one more question leading into this, but you and I chatted before the webinar. I was saying, if I can just take away one thing from any type of webinar or meeting, then it's a benefit for me. I actually have been keeping track. I'm a big data guy, I'm a data cruncher. I love measuring and producing. If you've walked away with, I mean, first of all, some lead sources that I haven't even heard of for listings, the Sticky Challenge, the 4 Ps, and LP Mama. And I have 3 or 4 other things on this list that it's a bonus here. It's icing on the cake. You're getting a lot of great suggestions, tips, and resources here. But I want to ask you, here's my question. And excuse me, because sometimes I get excited. I talk too fast. I'm gonna try to slow it down. It can be a little intimidating. How easy is it to actually deploy this for somebody to get this started? Because they're thinking, I don't know where to start. Is it just a conversation? Call you up and start talking? How can they deploy this with you?
Right, and well, that's the whole point of the strategy call. And what we've learned is, like, these videos are good, and I like putting these videos on as I'm driving or maybe as I'm running or working out, because subconsciously it sticks in your brain, so it gets into your brain. And this is when I listen to podcasts, this is when I listen to books. So I think it's a good process to go through. But having the information by itself, or an idea by itself, is really worthless. And we have this guy that I know, and he believes in what his ideas are worth. And the reality is, I feel bad for him, because I know ideas are worth nothing, exactly what you pay for. And so what we've shared is all of our ideas with you today. Like, we've shared a lot of good ideas worth exactly what you paid for. But what we are giving away is a strategy call that I believe is worth thousands of dollars. In fact, just one part of our strategy call is to build your organizational chart, like your leverage chart, like who's on your team today and who needs to be on your team tomorrow. Now, doing that and knowing the 7-figure agent roadmap, we know exactly who to hire and when to hire them. Not only do we know when to hire them, but we know what their job descriptions are, what they should focus on, what they should be concerning themselves on, about. Like, we've organized this into a very repeatable, systematic process. So no matter where you are today in your journey to netting $1 million, we can add value and provide opportunity to you in that strategy call, and you can take some of our ideas and we can show you how to implement them. Like, that's massive value. And that's what we really want you to do, because, again, ideas without execution are worth nothing. And so don't make the mistake of downloading our expired script, for instance, or the LP Mama because you liked it. Don't make the mistake of doing that but not talking to us, because I promise you, like in this call, not only are you going to take away some ideas, but we're going to give you actually actionable process that you can follow and transform your world for 2018. That's what the strategy call is all about.
I just thought of something. You mentioned you work out. I think that's great. Half the battle is getting to the gym to work out, for all of you that work out. And you're not even running a marathon here. All you have to do is just pick up the phone, and you have to start. Maybe you're stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit. You're trying something new, but candidly speaking, you have to be fluid. And what we've got here is several systems in place that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already invented. Come over here, contact Daniel, contact myself. I'll be processing my notes well into the evening from this to reorganize it and create some action items, because I'm just excited about everything that you've shared here. I think
one thing, if you want to know where, we put it in the notes, but if you just go to our website and then /sales dialers, so it's myoutdesk.com/sales dialers, and that's where you can get all of our free ideas that are worth exactly that, free, and also book a strategy call. So, come there. Come talk to us. We'll walk you through it. Our brand promise, MyOutDesk, is that we will take you down the path to being a 7-figure agent. Like, that's what we're going to do for you. Like, I guarantee you that you're going to come to our strategy call and you're going to learn something. Most people pay coaches $500, $1,000, even $5,000 a month. And so we're giving you not only the strategies, but we're going to give you an execution timeline. We'll build out an org chart. We'll talk about what your challenges are. And then if there's an opportunity for us to have a virtual assistant help you with some phone calls, help you with some administrative work, help you with marketing. We haven't even talked about, we do transaction coordination, listing coordination. We will help you implement your system for transaction coordination. Like, that's a massive opportunity for most people, because you as the agent shouldn't be doing transaction coordination. You shouldn't be focused on marketing your properties either. Those are systematic things that you can leverage out to a virtual assistant, like what we've done and I've done personally in my own career. So, last pitch, go to our website, go to myoutdesk.com/sales dialer. Our brand promise is we'll take you through a process to learn. We'll analyze who's on your team, your systems, your processes, and then we'll provide you exactly the structure you need to leverage yourself to the next step. And if you're not using Sales Dialer, we'll get you that free. We'll definitely get you a free trial. It's a massive tool. We know it works. We'll show you how to do it. And then if you need help doing it, we'll get you a person to help accelerate your growth. All systems grow for 2018.
Yeah, I can tell you what, I couldn't add anything to that. That's a hard act to follow. I'm overwhelmed with your energy, knowledge, and excitement, so I really, really appreciate it. Do you have any closing comments as we wrap up here? Because we like to keep people on time and give them what they're showing up for. Anything you'd like to close with?
I would just say, look at your 4 Ps, make sure you do the leverage inventory, do the sticky challenge. Do it, dude. I've done this with my wife. I've done this in my own world, my own personal world. I like to stay on task. I like to be outcome oriented. If you take anything away from this, just really consider what you do all day, the kind of time freedom you'd like to create in your life, and let's just design a better world for you next year.
I think what's going to happen here, because you've actually challenged, essentially, I took it as a challenge. You've challenged everybody in attendance here to do one of these things. Do the sticky challenge, or do some of these other tools that are going to help you get started. And here's what I think is going to happen. If everybody will commit to doing just one of these things, I think you're going to want to go to the next one, and then you're going to do another one, and then it's going to take on an energy of itself, and you're going to be excited like you've never been before. And
it's a discipline, man. What we're talking about is a discipline, and it's always looking for the highest effectiveness you can do and the most value you can bring to a company. And so if you just practice this discipline, it's like push-ups or pull-ups or any kind of discipline in your life. The better you get at it, the more conscientious is, like the more it's in your brain and more that it's all part of your mindset, the more likely you're gonna have a good outcome. So guys, thanks for joining us. Again, get these downloads. They're really valuable. MyOutDesk.com/sales dialer. Check out what we're going to give you for free. Get a strategy session, and definitely try Sales Dialer if you haven't already.
Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate. I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you taking the time to be here and answer our questions. And I appreciate everybody's time. I hope everybody has a fantastic afternoon, and we look forward to hearing from you from both MyOutDesk and SalesDialers.com. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Corey.